There's a moment in every person's life when everything falls apart. When the bank account reads zero, when the world says you're not enough, when every door you knock on slams shut in your face. But what if I told you that moment, that exact moment of complete devastation, could be the beginning of everything you've ever dreamed of? This is a story about a woman who lost it all, only to discover that having nothing was exactly what she needed to build everything. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why your own breaking point might be the greatest gift you never asked for. 5 years ago, she sat on the floor of an empty apartment with $27 in her pocket and a suitcase full of broken promises. The relationship that was supposed to be forever had ended. The job she thought was secure had let her go. The savings account she'd built for years had evaporated paying for her mother's medical bills. She was 32 years old, and she had to start over with less than nothing, because nothing would have been easier than the weight of failure pressing down on her chest. That night, as she stared at the bare walls around her, she made a choice that would change everything. She decided that if she was going to rebuild her life, she would do it on her own terms. Not the terms society expected, not the safe path everyone recommended, but a path that actually meant something to her soul. The first 3 months were brutal. She took a job waiting tables at a diner, smiling at customers while her feet ached and her pride shattered with every tip left on the counter. She moved into a studio apartment so small she could touch both walls with her arms stretched out. She ate rice and beans for weeks because that's all she could afford. But every single night, after her shift ended and the city fell quiet, she opened her laptop and worked on her dream. She had always been a writer, someone who saw the world in stories, who felt other people's pain and joy as if it were her own. For years, she had pushed that gift aside, told herself it wasn't practical, that dreams don't pay bills. But now, with nothing left to lose, she gave herself permission to try. She started writing about the things nobody wanted to talk about, the messy, complicated, heartbreaking parts of being human, the struggles that people hide behind perfect social media posts, the fear that keeps us small, the shame that keeps us silent. At first, nobody read her words. She published article after article into the void of the internet, and the silence was deafening. Self-doubt crept in like poison. Maybe everyone was right. Maybe dreams are just pretty lies we tell ourselves. Maybe she should give up, get a normal job, accept a normal life. But then something inside her shifted. She realized she wasn't writing for the world. She was writing for the girl she used to be, the one who felt alone and lost and convinced she wasn't enough. If her words could reach even one person who felt that same pain, it would be worth it. So she kept going. She wrote when she was tired. She wrote when she was scared. She wrote when every logical voice in her head screamed at her to quit. 6 months in, something changed. One of her articles went viral, not because it was perfect or polished or said anything particularly revolutionary, but because it was honest, brutally, beautifully honest. Thousands of people shared it, commented on it, messaged her saying they finally felt seen. For the first time in her life, she understood the power of vulnerability. She had spent so many years trying to appear strong, put together, successful, when what people actually needed was someone brave enough to admit they were struggling too. People from all over the world telling her that her words had saved them, had given them hope, had reminded them they weren't alone. And slowly, opportunities began to appear. A small online publication offered to pay her for her writing, then a bigger one. Then brands reached out wanting to work with her. Then speaking invitations arrived. But here's what nobody tells you about success. It doesn't fix everything. As her career grew, so did the pressure. The same internet that had lifted her up could tear her down just as quickly. Critics emerged, saying she was too emotional, too raw, too much. Imposter syndrome haunted her at 3 in the morning, whispering that she didn't deserve any of this, that it could all disappear as quickly as it came. She had more money now, more opportunities, more recognition, but she also had more fear. The stakes felt higher. The possibility of losing everything again felt more terrifying because now she knew exactly what that loss felt like. This is when she learned her most important lesson. Success isn't about reaching a destination where you finally feel safe and complete. Success is about becoming someone who can hold the fear and the joy at the same time. Someone who can be grateful for what they have while still reaching for what they want. By year 3, she had built something real, a platform with millions of followers who hung on her every word, a book deal that turned into a bestseller, speaking engagements that filled auditoriums with people desperate for hope. But more importantly, she had built herself. The woman who used to shrink in rooms full of people now stood tall. The woman who used to apologize for taking up space now claimed it unapologetically. She had learned that her story, with all its mess and heartbreak and struggle, was her greatest asset. Because everyone has a story. Everyone has faced darkness. And when you're brave enough to share yours, you give other people permission to embrace theirs. Year 4 brought unexpected challenges. Her mother's health declined again, reminding her that money can't fix everything. A relationship she had hoped would last ended, proving that success in one area of life doesn't guarantee success in all areas. She faced burnout, questioning whether the pace she was maintaining was sustainable or whether she was just running from the emptiness she still sometimes felt inside. These moments of doubt and pain didn't disappear just because her bank account had more zeros. But now she had tools she didn't have before. She had learned to be gentle with herself. She had built a community of people who supported her. She had developed practices that grounded her when the world felt chaotic. She meditated. She journaled. She said no to opportunities that didn't align with her values. She chose rest over hustle when her body demanded it. She had learned that real success isn't measured in followers or dollars, but in peace, in purpose, in the quiet confidence that you're living a life that actually belongs to you. Now, 5 years later, she looks back at that empty apartment, at the girl sitting on the floor with nothing but a dream, and she feels something unexpected, gratitude. Because that moment of absolute devastation cracked her open in a way comfort never could. It forced her to confront who she really was and who she wanted to become. It stripped away all the pretense and all the safety nets and asked her a simple question. What do you actually care about? And in answering that question honestly, she found her purpose. So what can we learn from her story? First, your lowest point is not your ending. It's often your beginning. When everything falls apart, you get to decide what you rebuild and how you rebuild it. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. Second, nobody is coming to save you, and that's actually the good news. Because when you stop waiting for permission or rescue or the perfect circumstances, you claim your own power. You become the hero of your own story instead of a supporting character in someone else's. Third, your mess is your message. The things you've struggled with, the pain you've endured, the failures you've survived, these aren't weaknesses to hide. They're bridges to other humans who are fighting the same battles. Your vulnerability is your strength. Fourth, success isn't linear. There will be setbacks and doubts and moments when you want to quit. The difference between people who make it and people who don't isn't talent or luck or privilege, though those help. It's simply refusing to quit. It's getting up one more time than you get knocked down. And fifth, define success for yourself. Don't let society or social media or your family or anyone else tell you what your life should look like. The only person who has to live with your choices is you. Build a life that feels good from the inside, not one that just looks good from the outside. Right now, wherever you are in your journey, I want you to hear this. Maybe you're at your lowest point. Maybe you're scared and broke and convinced it's too late for you. Maybe you've been knocked down so many times you're not sure you have the strength to get back up. But you do. You absolutely do. Because you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still capable of making a different choice right now, in this moment. So here's what I want you to do. Pick one small thing, one tiny action you can take today that moves you closer to the person you want to become. Maybe it's writing one paragraph of that book. Maybe it's sending one email for that business idea. Maybe it's simply deciding that your dream deserves a chance. You don't need money or connections or perfect circumstances. You just need to start, because 5 years from now, your life will either be completely transformed or exactly the same, and that choice begins right now with what you do next. The woman in this story isn't special. She's just someone who refused to let her circumstances define her destiny. And so can you. Your breaking point doesn't have to be your breaking. It can be your breakthrough. Everything can change. Everything will change.